On the telephone line, I welcome in acclaimed singer and songwriter, award-winning artist. We welcome in Kelly Lang. Kelly, Brian C., thank you so much for your time this morning.
Oh, it's our honor to be here. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Kelly, first let me congratulate you on your newest release titled Old Soul. Fantastic work you accomplished with those fabulous songs, which, really was my era growing up, the 1980s. So I wanted to congratulate you on that.
Thank you. It's been
Now,
such a fun thing to record.
yeah, no, it's great music. Now, I know music was in your household at a young age with your dad working with the legendary Conway Twitty. And I read at 6 years of age, you were writing music. How does that happen for a 6-year-old?
I think it was just innately involved in my DNA. I don't know. My dad worked for Conway from the time I was 1 up until Conway passed. So I was just always around music. And it just seemed like that was a natural path for me. And one time it was 6 years old, I was in the bathtub, and that was when I recognized that we had a Delta faucet, and Delta Dawn was famous on the radio at that time. And I just wrote a song about Delta Dawn, push for shower, then you're gone. Push up open and you'll see that it will run. Push for C and it will freeze. Push for H and you will burn. Push at both of them and you will be a mixed up person.
Wow,
That
bravo,
was my
bravo.
6-year-old writer.
Well, I mean, you have such a magnificent voice, and it really comes out in this new album. And, your sound resonated with me and so many others. 1982, you were 15 years old, and you released Lady Lady, right?
Yes, I did. And I appreciate you mentioning that. That was a wonderful time in my life. That song was written for me, and it charted on the Billboard chart. And it was just one of these things that at that age, it is amazing to have that opportunity. And that afforded me the ability to travel on the road and work for so many different huge artists as an opening act. And I went on to do Star Search because of that album or that record, and it just started everything for me.
Now, that song was also big for country music television, right?
Yes. As a matter of fact, when CMT, Country Music Television, first began, it was, they had just had very little programming at that moment. And so they were reaching out to people who were doing well on the charts and offered to help me pay for my first video, which happened to show on CMT in the very beginning. And that thing ran all the time. It was so funny to see how, far CMT has grown since then. I was honored to be part of that.
Now, Kelly, I want to ask you, when was your very first big break into the music business?
I would have to say, are you familiar with Ralph Emery?
Yeah, he's the disc jockey, right?
Right. Well, he had a local TV show in the Tennessee area, and I was, asked to be a part of that regular crew there every week for several years, and so many people got their starts there. Dolly Parton, the Judds, Lori Morgan. I mean, the list goes on and on. But that was just a way, it was like a stepping stone for me to get my confidence level up, doing television every week, new songs every week, learning new, things to do. And it was kind of like a college for me, honestly. It was exactly what I needed to grow me to the next level in my career. So I thank Ralph, continuously for that.
Now, Kelly, any other mentors who took you in, or did you have to make a name for yourself first, and then everything fell into place?
I often joke, I felt like I had been the local mascot. I was just able to sing everywhere because of Ralph Emery's show. You know what? It's really funny because no one really. People would assume that because of my affiliation with Conway that was a shoe-in, but that actually had been a hindrance for me because people assumed that I already had a shot. But I never, ever asked Conway for help. I always admired him from afar, but I would never, ever put him in a position to ask him for help. But I will say Lori Morgan, I came up behind her at the Ralph Emery show, and she took me in. She paid for my first record, or as I got a little older, she paid for a photo shoot and a beautiful, opportunity for me to grow and have confidence with somebody that I admired so much, taking me under their wing to show me how to fly. And I learned so much from her, and still do, And another one that really helps me more on a personal level now in my life is Olivia Newton-John. She is such a mentor to me, not only musically, but just in health reasons. And, we're both breast cancer survivors. We're both mothers. I just learned so much from her as an older sister kind of a relationship. It's wonderful.
Wow, and you mentioned Olivia Newton-John, and now you performed with Barry Gibb and recorded with Olivia Newton-John. If you could share with us, how was it performing with these two giants in music?
Well, Barry, I became friends with him when he moved to town. He was actually moving to the Johnny Cash estate here in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and unfortunately, a tragic fire came, and he wasn't able to actually live in the home, but we remained friends. I was doing a benefit concert for some tornado victims, and he happened to be in town looking at his new home. And I reached out to his management to see if he would like to just, come by and wave at the crowd and welcome his new citizens. And it was, he wanted to perform, and he wanted to sing with me that night. So that was the beginning of a very long and beautiful friendship between our family and his family. We traveled together. We've been to Australia together. Well, I tell you what, traveling with Barry Gibb and Olivia Newton-John to Australia is like traveling with royalty there. That was exciting. Oh my God! And so, singing with Barry, we've performed several times together, even playing at the induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame for Kenny Rogers and the Grand Ole
Wow.
Opry. So we've had a blast, and through him, I rekindled a friendship with Olivia. I met her when I was much younger, but as an adult, I grew up and met her again through him, and we've remained friends as well.
Amazing. Now, Kelly, I read that you've written songs for the Oak Ridge Boys, Jerry Lee Lewis. Are you able to mention a few of those songs which you helped write?
Yeah, for the Jerry Lee Lewis song, my husband is T.G. Shepherd. He's a country star. And
Yep.
we invited Bobby Tomberlin, who's another award-winning writer, to come in and write a song called "The Killer" for Jerry Lee Lewis. And we had no real plans for him to cut it. It kind of came to us, and it was a fun song to write. And TG started doing a duets project a few years after that. And it just happened to be that Jerry Lee Lewis and Mickey Gilley were both on that same project, and Jerry Lee agreed to sing the song "The Killer" as a duet with TG in the studio. So I was actually able to be with him when he recorded that for that project. And same for the Oak Ridge Boys. They cut a song of mine called "Down on My Knees," and that actually ended up on TG's project too. So that was really fun to see all of my heroes in one room together.
We're talking with legendary artist, singer-songwriter Kelly Lang. Kelly, prior to your newest album, Old Soul, you released Obsession, and I have heard or read that title was influenced by your personality. Is that correct to say?
I don't know where that came from.
I think I heard it on an interview you did, that it was from, you become obsessed with your work. I mean, which is fine. I mean, it's your passion. Is that correct to say?
I would say so. Yeah, I really love being in the studio. I really love. It's my favorite place in the world to be, to create. And I would say that, yeah, I'm obsessed with that part of my life because it's just such a release, and it's like having a new baby, and you just get so proud of them, and then you see them grow, and then you need a new baby in your life. So I would say that is true.
Well, you have an amazing career, and I have to tell you, I watched your performance on Huckabee show when you were singing one of Al Green's songs. I mean, that was amazing, and I didn't know Huckabee plays the guitar.
He's a great musician. Yeah, he plays bass guitar, and if he has the time to learn the music, he will take the time to do that. I'll tell you a funny story about Governor Huckabee. A week after my performance, my husband and I were down in Florida, and Governor Huckabee happens to live in Florida and invited us over for dinner. And then he invited us up to his office where he does the Fox remote programming. And while I was in his private office and looked at all of his guitars, I looked at his music stand, and he had my song on his music stand that he had just learned a few days before. It was kind of funny. It was a real thrill for me.
And I love your performance, "Islands in the Stream" with Barry Gibb. I mean, you both sound tremendously fantastic on that tune.
You're sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to play right now from your latest album, Old Soul. We're gonna play "Every Breath You Take."
Oh, thank you.
Let's play it, Sean. Kelly Lang, "Every Breath You Take."
Every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day, every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Can't you see you belong to me? My poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. Every smile you make, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. Every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching you. 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 I'll be watching you.
You just heard Every Breath You Take by Kelly Lang. With us is Kelly Lang. Outstanding work, Kelly. Beautiful song.
Thank you. Thank you. It was so much fun to record. The musicians had a blast doing that.
So a couple of questions on this new album. How does this latest album compare to your previous albums?
Well, this one compared to my last, which was Obsession, every song on Obsession I actually wrote all by myself. And this one, I just thought, I just want no pressure. I just want something that would just be super fun to record and perform. And so I cut all cover tunes on this one. Compared to other ones in the past, I've done a lot of duets with people on previous albums, and some covers, some things that I have written. But this is completely the only one that I've done with no originals on.
Now, another great song on the album is Drive. That's such a great song. I heard you once tell a story about that song. One of your favorite songs on the track, you would say, Drive?
I would say it was just screaming to have that particular song. I kept hearing it everywhere I went. I was in the process of recording this album, and I'd had a few songs under my belt, and that one just, I kept hearing it getting my nails done or going to the grocery store, and I thought, okay. So it happened to be my husband's favorite song from that era, and so I cut it for him, really, because I thought, he'll enjoy this, and it turned out to be one of the favorites that most people have picked for the single when we first released the album.
Now, an important question here, where can the audience listening to this program purchase this new album, Old Soul?
Oh, okay. It's anywhere music is streamed or downloaded, but if you're like me, I like a physical copy, and I autograph these CDs from kellylang.net.
And what do you think of today's music, Kelly? Do you like today's music? Do you have artists that continue to inspire you?
That's a great question. Well, as you can see, I went backwards. I went back in time to a time where I liked music a little bit better. I think it was a safer time for me. I guess these songs just brought up safer memories. But, yeah, there's a few artists that I like. I really like Bruno Mars. I love Michael Bublé. I like Pink. As far as country artists go, I don't know a lot of the newer country artists, but I tend to go back and listen to classic country on that too. So I guess I really am an old soul.
And at the end of the day, Kelly, what do you want or hope fans take away from your newest album and your music?
I struggled for a moment when I decided, with COVID going on, I release an album? Should I just wait or whatever? But I realized that music is like medicine, and during a time that we are going through such tough times, it might be a good time to release something that made people feel good or remember good memories. And it was just kind of a aha moment when I did release it, and people said, "Oh, thank you." It brought me back to thinking about sweeter times, that we weren't afraid, and I felt really compelled to do that, to help people through this dark time. And I'm really grateful that we've released it.
No, I mean, it's fantastic work. Now, switching gears, now you're also an artist. Now, you're an oil painter. Is that correct to say?
Yes, I am.
And is there any sites that we can see some of your work?
Well, there's several on my Facebook page. That's Kelly Lang. And you can just kind of dig through the photos in there. But I probably have some on my website. I'm not sure. It's a new website, and I haven't paid attention to what all photos I've added on there. But you can probably just Google, Kelly Lang oil paintings as well. There's several pictures or paintings that I have done actually ended up landing in like Olivia Newton-John's, and Barry Gibb has several of my paintings hanging in his home. I painted Oprah's dog, and gosh, there's so many. But I love pets. I love pet portraits more than anything, and I haven't. It's funny, if I'm recording, I don't enjoy painting, and if I'm painting, I don't enjoy recording. I can't do both, it seems.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. You got to focus on one craft at a time, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
it becomes too overwhelming.
Yeah, it does. It
Um,
does.
so final question, what's next on your horizon? Well, any current projects you're working on or plan to work on?
Well, I've got a fun thing coming up next weekend. I have been asked to sing the national anthem at the Tennessee Titans Buffalo Bills football game. The
Wow.
11th.
Wow,
I
congratulations.
know. Thank you. That's a huge thing on the horizon. It was actually going to be tomorrow, but of course, due to COVID, they postponed that game. So they went ahead and asked that I do the anthem on the 11th. Now, hopefully, if all goes well with their health, that will continue on or be rescheduled. But that's exciting. And I'm doing the Daily and Vincent Christmas show, and I've got a Valentine's TV show coming up. So just a lot of things in the future. And
Well, listen,
also, I must
go
say,
ahead.
I recorded a Christmas duet with PG that's going to be coming up before the holidays.
Well, the website is kellylang.net. The newest album is Old Soul. And, I appreciate your time. Any final words for the fans?
I'm just so appreciative of everyone that will take the time to go to my website and look me up on socials. I'm pretty active on there. And I just really thank you for your time today. What a sweet honor.
Oh, it's an honor for us, honor for me. And, I love your work and I love your newest release. Thank you so much, Kelly.
My honor. Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
You too.
Thank you. That was Kelly Lang, and the website is kellylang.net, kellylang.net, where you can see her bio, her store, digital downloads. You'll see some videos. And I tell you, you got to check out some of these videos on YouTube on Kelly Lang and her performance. I mean, it's tremendous sound. What a tremendous voice. It resonates throughout. I fell in love with her music. Newest release is a lot of great hits from the 1980s, as we just discussed. And check out the Huckabee show in which Kelly Lang is performing. Just great, great work. And I have a couple of minutes left, so I want to talk quickly about some rock and roll memorabilia that just sold. Those famous glasses by John Lennon, those circle glasses by John Lennon, recently sold at an auction a day or two ago. Those iconic round spectacles that John Lennon wore sold for $57,000. $57,000 in a Sotheby's London auction. So rock and roll memorabilia is well collected and it's very, very hot. Also, during that auction, which took place in London at Sotheby's, Brian Epstein, which was the manager of the Beatles, his watch and business card from 1966 sold for $39,000. So that happened a day or two ago at Sotheby's London. So rock and roll memorabilia is very hot to collect. Also, a article that came out a week ago, the bassist from the Rolling Stones, one of his bass items sold for what was it? It was for over six figures, breaking a record of a Paul McCartney item which sold. And I'll tell you right here, the news, the record-breaking bass was Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stone. His bass from 1969 sold for a whopping $384,000. Bill Wyman's Rolling Stone artist, his bass sold for $384,000, and that shattered the record previously held by a Hofner bass presented to Paul McCartney in 1964, which previously sold at auction for $204,000, $204,800 in 2013 auction. That was the record price. But Bill Wyman's 1969 Fender Mustang bass sold for a whopping $384,000. So my point is, rock and roll music memorabilia are other items to go after and to collect, especially the vintage ones. I thank you, Kelly Lang. Until next week, happy collecting to all.